Welcome back to the channel. I got the 460 behind me. If you watched, I think it was 2 videos ago, at least something like that, we had the 460 running really good. Like probably the best that has been running since we pulled it out of the shop after the rebuild. And then things took a turn and we took it out a couple days after that and she completely died. So I swapped the rotor back to the newer one that I had and I managed to get it to run half decent back to at least get it back in the barn here. And that's where she's sat ever since. So today I'm gonna be pulling it in the shop and we're gonna be making some big changes. Right off the bat, you can tell it's not running right. And she's gonna die. Although I might have the gas turned off. No, I do not. Yep. So that's what I've been dealing with. I'm not so sure I'm gonna even be able to get it to the shop. I can't even get it to move. Now I could do the work out here, but I really don't want to, because then I gotta be going back and forth for tools and everything else. And if I put that rotor in, which is sitting right here, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna start at all. For all you guys saying this old stuff's the best, I don't know. This tractor especially has been nothing but issues. But hopefully we can get that fixed today. But now I got a dead battery to deal with. So, I have a bunch of parts right here. Part number 1, new distributor cap, new rotor, new coil. I think this one's oil filled. Electronic ignition. And new wires. Hopefully all this will solve our problems. Some people will argue and say that a good set point and condenser setup is superior and the best. And everybody has their opinions on that. To me, personally, I'm not a fan of that kind of setup, but that's just my opinion. I'm gonna do a conversion of electronic ignition on this, get rid of all that stuff, and upgraded wires, which I think they're carbon core wires or whatever it told me I needed to do the kit. That's what we're gonna do. So we'll pop this panel off first, that way we can get access better to it. And it could be multiple things here. We could have the coil starting to go out, and I also have a, which could be the biggest thing, a auto parts, whatever you wanna call it, resistor. There it is. Auto parts resistor here. I don't even know if that's the right ohms that it's switching that to. This new igniter, I believe, and the electronic ignition requires about 3 ohms of resistance, or 0.3. So it should be all the right system. Now it's not cheap, it was expensive, but if it makes the tractor run 10 times better, you know, I could have started out by replacing one thing at a time and starting with the coil and doing it that route, but to me, I'm just gonna do it all one shot, get it over with. There, that's better. Now, pretty much just unplug the wires. This thing has never really fit in that coil good to begin with, so that could be a big problem too. Pop this cap off. Now, that rotor will come off. This dust cap will come out. And now our points and our condenser in here, that stuff will all come out. And then I believe this comes out also. And we will be utilizing this hole for our wires for our electronic ignition. So right here's the directions that come with it. And 6-cylinder engines require a minimum of 3 ohms for primary resistance in the ignition circuit, which our new coil, that's what it has. This says here, RFI suppression spark plug wires must be used. However, online, I got this kit from All States Ag. It told me, I believe, carbon core. So that's what I bought. So hopefully that works. But this pretty much gives you all the installation, wiring, instructions, everything you need. Tells you your ohms right here for cylinders 1 through 6 and 8 through 12. So yeah, it pretty much gives you everything you need. So we're gonna pop out the points and condenser and pop this out also. And there's the condenser. Next, we need to remove this stud where the wire went to. Now I can install the new coil. There's just something so nice about new parts. Oh boy. Yeah, that's not gonna fit in there. I'll have to mechanize that. So I definitely had to mechanize things here. I could not use the lower holes because it'd be in the way of the spark plug, and this is actually open into the engine. I can see the push rod in there. And I think that's where all of this oil is coming from. It's leaking out around this bolt. So I threw a little bit of thread tape on there. Hopefully that doesn't cause any further issues. But yeah, so this is all mechanized, but that is tight in there. It's not going to come out. But yeah, what a kind of an annoyance that is. But anyway, it's in. That's all that matters. Now I can proceed with the rest of it. And now I'm pretty certain that this wire, which is actually coming from the starter solenoid, which I believe when you crank it, it provides full 12 volt for starting. I'm pretty sure now I can eliminate that wire. I don't need that wire anymore. It's not a 12 volt coil or a 6 volt coil anymore. So we can get rid of that. We'll just have our hot wire coming in, and that should be that. So pretty sure I can get rid of that. So now this plate will go in place like so, of where our condenser and everything else was mounted in there. So then this piece, sit on them studs. These wires actually might be long enough. I think they will be. So we'll secure that down with the nuts first. And that does have a hex marking on it. So you slide that down like so. And you will not be using the dust cap with this. It does say in the instructions that it needs to be modified in order to use it. I'm not too concerned about that, so we're just gonna leave that how it is. Now at this point, we will be able to install our rotor and our new cap. So here's our brand new rotor. The camera's not going to pick it up. I have issues getting this new distributor cap on top, sitting properly. Now, inside, this center pin is different than the old one, as you can see. But the real problem here is the new rotor that I received. I'm sure the camera's not going to pick it up, but you can just kind of see maybe how on this end right here, there's a little edge sticking out. So it's not going down fully. Therefore, with it not sitting fully, it's not allowing the distributor cap to sit fully. So, and I've read a lot of things about these new rotors, new condensers, new anything, new points, all that stuff in the distributor. Nowadays, a lot of things I've read says it's all junk, and rightfully so. I mean, a lot of this stuff nowadays, no matter what it is not really made to last. It's made cheaply, rush it out the door, and just get it done. So I don't know. I gotta mechanize that a little bit, and hopefully I can get that in and have it sit properly to where I want it to be. Distributor cap's on. I'll admit, I had to do some shaving on the inside of the rotor and tap it on the shaft because it still is pretty a little tighter than what I'd like, but it's better than it was for sure. It would actually stick it up before, so not ideal for a new part. Shouldn't have to do that. But anyway, I'll continue on with the wiring, and we should be hopefully smooth sailing at this point. Well, it looks a little sloppy with all the wires hanging here, but there's just not a whole lot I can do about it. And honestly, at this point, I really don't care that much about looks. I want it to work. There, that's better. Lot cleaner. At least it's better than them all over the place like an octopus. So now, at this point, we get all of our wires on. We have the internals of the distributor in here, and we have the new coil. Everything's wired in. I'm gonna verify on the paperwork that I didn't miss anything, verify our wiring. Wiring's pretty simple, kind of not much to it. So I'm gonna verify all that, and then we're gonna try starting it. So I think we're ready to fire everything up. One thing it did say in here, the igniter could make this timing be off by 10 degrees. So we may have to turn at the distributor a little bit to adjust that if it doesn't start or if it runs a little rough, but we'll see what happens. Now, the moment of truth. Let's see if this baby will fire up. I think we got her dialed in. I do have a line down here. This is where it was set before. So I had to rotate it all the way over to here. So I think we have it really close. May have to fine tune it a little more. It's not quite as responsive when I crack on the throttle, but you know, we'll mess with that a little bit if we have to. But if you don't gouge on it, it's pretty good and it sounds really nice. So I'll get all the panels thrown back on. I need to find some bolts. It looks like I lost a couple bolts. And then we'll back it out of here and take it for a little ride and then put it away. And I think we'll be ready to plant some wheat. Now, it has rained the past couple days, so I did go over that field one more time disking wise, but I do need to go over it at least one more time. So hopefully I can do that tomorrow. And it was perfect timing for the rain to come that we could work on this and get this 460 dialed in, because this is what I'd like to pull the seed drill with. Should be ready to go. I cleaned the oil off up here now, gave it a nice shine. Sprayed some wax on the rest of it. Doesn't look too bad. This looks really nice compared to what we had before and now. Well, I should say before I zip tied it. So yeah. And tighten the bolts for the distributor. So again, we may have to tweak that a little bit, but let's fire it up, get it out of here. We're gonna run it for a little bit. That way, hopefully it charges the battery, and that way I can make sure everything's good to go too, obviously. Biggest thing with this is do not let the key on, because you can burn out the electronic ignition that way. I think I do have to mess with the timing just a touch, so I may have to just tweak it a little bit. Seems like maybe the advance might be off a little, but right now it's definitely runnable the way it is for sure. I mean, it's when the governor kicks in, she goes, and just once in a while when you go to gouge on the throttle, it's a little, you got to be easy with it. So anyway, we'll pull it in the barn and park it, and she should be ready for wheat. Well, she better work now because I just spent almost $300 on all that stuff. Now, with me saying all that, when I had it in the shop and rebuilt the engine and completely did everything that I did to it, probably should have done all that to begin with. Even if it weren't the electronic ignition, new distributor cap, new coil, like all that stuff should have been done, new wires, and I didn't. But now we did, so hopefully everything's good to go. Plan is we're gonna disc tomorrow, hopefully get some wheat in the ground by Thursday. That's a stretch, but I'm hoping that we can do that. If not, I may have to stretch it to disking 2 days and then maybe planting on Saturday, something like that. But at least the tractor's ready to go for wheat, and the drill should be ready to go too. Just check some air pressure settings, fill it with seed, and go. So the only thing we should have to do with the tractor this winter is fix that hydraulic leak, which is it's gonna be some disassembling with that. But that's a whole nother thing. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video on converting the Farmall 460 to electronic ignition. And hopefully that saves a lot of headaches. Hope you have a great day. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and I'll see you next time.